Hey everyone, thanks for being here. Welcome to another reading. I hope you guys are doing super well. For some reason, I have been very called to do a karmic reading for some of you guys out there. Do remember that this is a general reading. It's weird. I found it really strange because I've been super focused on my own stuff. And recently, I have been for a while, but especially so recently. And then I woke up and then I kept thinking the last couple of days, like, you've got to do a karmic reading. You've got to make sure when you do your reading, make sure it's a karmic reading. I don't know who these messages are for. I really don't. I don't know if they're there for me. I'm not feeling it specifically strongly, but I am getting that it's a very general reading. So even if you aren't really that bothered about what's going on with your masculine, you might still want to listen to it. It might still be relevant. See if it resonates, because I have been getting that this, while I was doing the reading, the messages that came through were that there is a very big shift kind of happening right now, and it's mainly for the divine masculine, and it's very much kind of, I've spoken about kind of points in destiny before, and it's kind of celestial events that are kind of acting as signals, almost like a traffic light that's kind of saying, yeah, it's okay to go ahead now because the traffic's been managed. And what I mean by that is certain pieces of the puzzle had to all fit in, because many different people had to be in certain places and certain positions for things to move forward. And now there has been a time where a lot of things have been given the green light to go ahead. So, and certain other things have been given the red light for them to kind of stop. So it's basically just a new phase. I'm getting a new phase in a cycle. The cards are really interesting, especially what came out for the divine masculine. I'll come to that in a second. So we've got the karmic at the top, and then divine masculine is at the bottom. And there was one more message that I had for you guys. Okay, it slipped my mind. I'm sure it will come back when it needs to. But one very big thing that's happened is underlying energies for the whole thing is the Eight of Swords is in reverse. So that sense of not being able to act, that sense of feeling trapped, that sense of feeling bound and not being able to move, that's kind of what is leaving right now. And that's very much because we've been given the signal for things to be able to move ahead. Other messages that I got, a lot of these messages to do the reading, do it on the karmic, they kind of, I don't remember the reason why, because I woke up in the morning and it was something happening during sleep. It was like, make sure that you do these readings, and it has to be about the karmic messages for certain people. But I was also getting about the timings being right. It was akin to, when you start a car, you can't go straight into fifth gear. You have to start in first gear. You have to kind of gradually build up. So it's all about timing. So you might want to speed ahead in fifth gear, but you can't, because certain things need to be built up beforehand. Like, you need to build up enough power, you need to build up enough speed, you need to build up enough acceleration, whatever. So enough torque. You need to have certain abilities before you can go on to the next stage. A lot of that has actually happened. I also saw a post online, and it was about Uranus going into retrograde, and it was a time where the post basically said the next 5 months are going to be a time of looking at relationships, getting rid of things happening very suddenly, and looking at the relationship between relationships and also money. So I found that very interesting, because I kept saying August is going to be massive, August is going to be massive, August is going to be massive. And I know that lots of people, it's meant actual unions and stuff like that, because you guys have been telling me. But also, I feel like whatever that huge shift that was meant to happen, that's happened. It's a lot of it was to do with this. It was an energetic sense of, I'm not bound anymore. And this is relevant for both parties. I do get that for the divine masculine, it was a lot of it is to do with interpersonal relationships. And interestingly enough, and I've been saying this for you guys who have been following me for a long time, I've always said divine masculine, the challenges will be with relationships. Divine feminine, the big challenges will be to do with money and purpose and work. And a lot of this lack of clarity, this feeling blind, feeling bound, feeling cornered, and not in any position, feeling powerless, not in any position to actually move forward. This is what's going away in an emotional sense for the divine masculine, and in a career and purpose sense for the divine feminine. And a lot of you would have felt that clarity recently. That is something that I can certainly relate to with all my organic clothing projects and stuff that are kind of happening. Thank you so much to everyone who's supporting me with that as well. All of your donations via PayPal are very, very, very greatly appreciated. I will be using them to put forward towards a deck that I am going to get, rather expensive deck that I'm going to buy for these readings, and I'll surprise you with later when I actually get it. And also part of those will be going towards my very, very awesome and very exciting and very revolutionary organic clothing project. It's not your regular kind of organic clothing project that kind of people have already done. It's very different. It's very special. It's going to take a bit of a long while to do. I'm looking forward to telling you more about it. Also, if anybody, before I start with the reading, if anybody would like a reading, I will be doing them this Wednesday. I do have spaces this Wednesday, so if you want one, readings are between £30 and £50, English pounds that is, and you can get them via PayPal. Just send me an email. Right, so 6.25 minutes, and let's start with the reading. First, we'll start with the karmic. It's interesting how many of these first cards came out in the reverse, and the karmic or soulmate, whatever you want to call this person, this is whoever your counterpart is in, if they are in a third party situation. This does mainly pertain to romantic partnerships, but it could also pertain to very controlling work situations, family situations, even negative friendships as well to a lesser degree. But it's the kind of thing that exerts a maximum influence on your counterpart. But especially for most people, it will be romantic partners that they are currently with. So we've got the Nine of Swords in reverse, and what I'm getting from this card is actually they're not being plagued by anxieties just in their sleep. It's very much overwhelming anxieties into waking life as well. So the karmic, they are almost bombarded by these kind of fears, and they've kind of come to a point with this where they are, rather than when it's upright, they're just tormented by it. But because it's upside down, it's not that these things are going away. It's the fact that they've been accepted to a degree. The karmics kind of realized, like, I can't escape from these. These aren't going to go away. I can either do something about it. I mean, I there's no point in me just carrying on how I was before, because that's whatever I was doing before, sticking with this thing, and using all the other negative methods, or, you know, that some of them are using, manipulation, etc., or just hanging on for dear desperation, for dear life. It would feel like that's not working. So a lot of them are just coming to a phase where, for many of them, they're going to be despairing even more that they aren't able to control the divine masculine, that they're probably not going to get what it is that they want from this relationship. That's dawning on them. Interestingly, we've got the sun in reverse, and that is basically the realization is happening, but it's they don't like what it is that they see. There is no way of kind of they're almost being blinded by what it is that the sun is revealing. Like, there is no beginning, no new beginning. It's not that kind of thing. It's almost like they're being burnt by what it is that they're seeing. So I do feel a lot of anguish and a lot of pain and a lot of hurt and like a lot of fire. This is almost like mental torment, like being burned up by thoughts and emotions, and not being able to sleep, sleepless nights. That real sense of torment. It's oh my God, torment is very much it, because look, we have the devil here as well. So this is like mental anguish, burning from the sun, being overwhelmed, and just, it's almost like a supernova kind of thing. It's just explosive because it's not balanced. It's in reverse. And then we've got the devil as well. So it's a very hellish kind of feeling, like they're in some kind of mental hell feeling at the moment. And knowing that the devil is very much about obsessions. It's about codependency. It's about fear, and it's about control. So all of these not very negative aspects, they're being illuminated. They are being illuminated. And the devil could also sort of, it wasn't sure whether it wanted to come up the right way up or upside down. But then the fact that everything for that karmic partner or soulmate, whoever this being is, like whatever that situation even could be for your divine masculine, all of them could have been upside down, just showing the sense of imbalance, the sense of also the fact that it's on its way out. It's very much on its way out as well. It's a symbol of that. So there are a lot of reversals in the karmic half of this spread. So what more do I want to say about that? They're not in a good place. There's a lot of really explosive, volatile, aggressive, very, very, very negative, lower vibrational energies. Very, very, very fear-based, very panicky, very controlling. Almost like there's like a mad scramble of sheer and utter desperation. There is desperation. It's like they're at their wits' end for a lot of it is what I'm feeling. There is a huge sense of loss, impending loss, fear about the future, despair, powerlessness. How are they feeling towards the relationship with the divine masculine now, with your counterpart? We've got the 9 of Pentacles in reverse, and that's again just they're not feeling powerful, they're not feeling independent, they're not feeling abundant. It's completely the opposite of that. They are feeling a complete sense of lack. Again, there is that need for control. They're also feeling incredibly uncomfortable with being alone. The prospect of being alone. A lot of the fear comes from the fact that, you know, when she's the right way up, she's so happy to be independent. She's so comfortable to be independent. She's very capable. She's very opulent, and she's almost like goals. You know, she's like a boss lady, if you want to call it that. But upside down, she's completely the opposite. She couldn't be further away from that. She's very much like, I get the impression of someone scrambling for dear life, like for survival almost, is what I'm feeling. It might be all in their head. It might be a complete, you know, they might be fine and more than capable to be alone. Lots of them are also after divine masculine's money. They see security with divine masculine. They want this marriage. A lot of them want to trap the divine masculine in some kind of relationship because of the money, blah, blah, blah. But with this justice here, this is also, they want to trap them in a legal sense, or get money from them in a legal sense. They might, especially if they have any children or businesses or homes, properties, any kind of possessions together. There is so much fear related to the divine masculine leaving and taking away a certain lifestyle, taking away access to funds, taking away very much so a lifestyle and money, stability. And a lot of that is to do with material wealth. So a lot of these people are just with whoever this reading is for. Remember, this is a general reading. A lot of this is to do with what they can get from the divine masculine in the sense of stability, protection, money, and codependency. They want that feeling of what they think could be love, but it's actually codependency and being needy, being needed. So, and it's all stemming from a sense of lack, and that because that is on its way out, it's being forced out. It's honestly being like wrung. I'm getting that feeling of like, I'm seeing clothing being wrung dry, and then hung out to dry. That's what's going to happen, and they are absolutely petrified of it. But this justice lady here, she is justice. Justice is, because she's so central as well, it is going to happen, and I just see things are coming into balance because that's what the universe does. And when they're finally in balance, when everything is in balance, that's when the sword is going to fall, and she's just going to sever whatever needs to be severed. So I'm actually seeing this lady sever the partnership. This is kind of an element, there is an element of divine feminine in here as well. And this is the card of Libra. I'm hearing stuff October. For some people, stuff will happen in October. Okay, so October, sorry, the Libra card is under a card that represents Leo for me. So this is a card that represents the summer. It represents August to me. So lots of things are going to happen. Stuff that started now, they're going to come to a head for some of you, for some of these partnerships. The sword is going to come down around October. So real progress, actually. Whatever the energetic progress that's been started now, that's just happened, the severances, the repercussions of that in the physical world, or the outcomes of that will happen for especially if there's any legal issues that are going on right now that are kind of long standing. That's gonna I don't know why I'm getting these messages. It must be for certain people, because I try to shy away from actual timelines, but I'm hearing that for certain people. So yeah, outcomes, decisions, whatever, the sword is going to fall around October time. Now, the Hierophant here, I'm also seeing that there's something to do with this lamb being like a sacrificial lamb. And what I'm feeling with that is all the innocence is gone. This is also representative of, for some people, children. And nothing's going to happen to those children. It's just, you know, they are kind of, for some people, the children are going to be adding to a conflict. They are going to be a little bit caught in the crosshairs, if you will, of the messiness that will ensue with all of what is going on. But it's just to do with, there is going to be some messiness. It's very much to do with impressions as well, reputations. It doesn't have to represent a child. It can also represent people's reputations are going to be caught in the crosshairs and take a bit of a battering from all of this. And the divine masculine is the one. I'm really feeling the divine masculine is the one that's going to like be the one that walks away and moves away. That's what I'm getting. And for the karmic, it's very much about, this is what she fears. She fears this justice and this balance. And I'm getting a very divine feminine energy coming from that card. But from this, it's they're fearing losing face, losing this kind of status, losing this prestige. That's the main energy that I'm getting from this card. And it's very much in the crosshairs from outside. So it's not going to be in their control. They're just going to be like the sitting duck, the target, when the hammer falls, when the sword falls, when, you know, shots are fired, essentially, and this thing just ends. So sorry for the slightly kind of, you know, violent imagery there, but that's just what I'm getting through that. It sounds like it's very final, and it's almost like putting something out of its misery is what I'm sensing. It's a real sense of like executioner kind of energy, but not in a malicious way. It's just a necessary kind of way, if that makes sense. So it's not to be sadistic, it's not to be cruel, it's just something that needs to be done because it's finished. So what are they expecting? These karmics, they know that it's over a lot of the time. They know that it's not going to happen. And they're really, really fearing losing a lot of money. And they think that every effort that they've put in, that's why they're panicking so much. It's because every effort that they've put in is going to waste. It's very much going to waste, and they know it. And they don't know what to do next. Some of these people are actually also going to be, I want to kind of say hedge their bets. Some of them are going to be looking outside of the relationship and maybe keep it a secret from the divine masculine, but they are going to try and keep their options open. They're looking at other options. So they're going to think about like an exit strategy, think about what it is that they can do to kind of, you know, this is what they're going to have to do. They're panicking right now because they're thinking, oh my God, all the riches are gone. And they're going to have to look at all of their options, you know, what's kind of available to them. They're going to be very overwhelmed by it. They're not really going to know what to do, but they are going to be they're going to be thrust into this. And I'm getting a sense of feeling overwhelmed, feeling very alone. And it's linked to this upside down Nine of Pentacles lady, not feeling empowered to actually feel comfortable and feel whole and feel capable and feel secure alone. It's very much a sense of overwhelm, of fear, of not knowing what to do, how to do it, and kind of similar to this, the right way up, weirdly enough. Massive lack. It's almost like, oh yeah, there's all this stuff out there, but I have nothing. What do I do? Rabbit in the headlights kind of thing. And feeling like they have nothing because they've lost what they were so needy and codependent on. So, yeah, overall, the karmic is just panicking in a very hellish place, controlled by those lower energies, still very much embodying those devil qualities. It could be to varying degrees. Some of them could be really extreme. The other ones could just be in a state of anxiety because they are afraid that this relationship is going to end. So that's what it is. It's a general reading, don't forget. Now let's move on to Divine Masculine. How do they feel towards the relationship? Two of Cups in reverse. This is over. They know that this whatever it was meant to, the love is gone. We've got that is aspected with, oh God, I can't pick this up. Prince of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords. He's on his way out. He's on his way out. It's a very battling card. There's a lot of swords here for Divine Masculine. I really do feel like the knives are out. Like he's out there just severing things, slashing connections left, right and centre. I do get that this is a very aggressive, violent spread, and not in a physically violent way, but I get in a mentally, there's a lot of arguments and fighting, and it's the Divine Masculine that's kind of like got it in for the karmic in many ways. Like he's the one that stuck the knife in there, and the reason he's not feeling stuck anymore is because he's grabbed these swords and he's the one that's kind of like using them to stick in the karmic, because the Divine Masculine is look, swords are out here. Swords are out. We've got the Princess of Swords and the King of Swords elsewhere in this spread as well. So yeah, in terms of the how he feels towards his current relationship situation, Two of Cups, he's not feeling it. He's looking elsewhere. He's out to sever his tie and to go after what it is that he truly wants, because this is also a card of justice to me, reflected in he's off to do the bidding of this Lady Justice, and to find his truth, to speak for his truth finally, and to fight. The Divine Masculine is fighting for his truth. He's starting to fight for his truth. He's found that kind of warrior spirit again. And with how he feels towards the karmic, everything's already come to bloom and he's not satisfied. It's a disappointing harvest of what these pentacles are. He's looking at them and they're not going to grow anymore. But it's not enough, you know. There's lots of bare earth here and there's flowers which are nice on the surface, but you can't eat them, you know. They don't give you nourishment. They just look nice. So it's very, very shallow. I'm seeing lots of shallowness. There's a few grapes that are there, but the promise, it's not a 10. It's a 7. So it's barely an A, you know. It's really, really, it's disappointing because that's not what he wanted. It's reached its full potential, and with the karmic, it's run its course, and now it's the only thing that can happen is it can rot. So it's time to leave. Cut your losses, take what you can, and leave. And it's a disappointment, and that's all it's going to be. You can't flog this dead horse anymore. This is all it's going to be. This is the maximum, and it's not enough for him because it's not his Two of Cups. It's absolutely not his Two of Cups. So time to leave, and that's what he's doing. And fight for what it is that he does want. So again, this is a sense. This is linked to this card in a sense that this isn't enough. He's like, this isn't enough. I'm not happy with it. What can I do? What can I create? And because he's realized he's not some serf. He's a king. And the kings want it all. Kings have ambition. Kings are brave. Kings are doers and kings are achievers. Kings are masters. And kings can get what they want. They believe in themselves. And that is what the energy is for the divine masculine. This is kind of like the energy that is making the divine masculine this king of wands and step into this king of wands energy is what is creating this upside down sun energy in terms of the karmic, because the karmic is now feeling like the one who is enslaved and powerless, because the divine masculine is breaking away. He's really stepping into this king of wands. And look, even their facial gestures are mirrored, because we've got the major arcana here of the magician, the alchemist, and it is that new start. He's really thinking about, he's strategizing. This is very much kind of the divine masculine is studying. He started to do things, like these things are already starting to levitate. They're already starting to manifest, and the magic has already started. But the divine masculine is studying the plans, and things are already in motion. So everything is coming together right now, and he knows that. He's very much in that energy, because look, we've got the Princess of Swords, the Page of Swords, and the King of Swords. Everyone's got their swords raised, because it's time for battle. It's time for being free, setting yourself free. It's time for planning, and it's time for transformation. And it's very much, look, there's a huge wings. And I'm almost seeing like a huge butterfly behind. Yeah, I am seeing a huge butterfly behind the King of Swords here. He's completely surrounded by butterflies, and they're landing on him because he is the butterfly. He has emerged. He's just emerged from the cocoon, from the struggle. It's almost like the caterpillar, as it transforms, it has to struggle so much to break out the cocoon. That's what all the fighting is right now. It's the divine masculine breaking out of the cocoon. Breaking out of the cocoon. That's what this is. That was there with this karmic entrapment that was there, represented by this devil, by everything getting illuminated now. That's him coming into the light, fighting for his truth, slashing his way out of everything that was holding him back, realizing that, hey, this is never going to be a twin flame relationship, because that's what he has to go out for and fight for, and he will be fighting for it, because that's what justice, that's what the divine feminine is saying. That's what she's saying. She's declaring, I need my justice, so go and get it. And so it's nice to see divine feminine come out in this reading too, because you guys are you're connected. You can't separate it. So they're always going to show up in each other's readings. So what the divine masculine expects to happen right now is he's not satisfied. He's not satisfied with where he is right now with the karmic or soulmate relationship. He's feeling the nostalgia. This is the true 10 of Cups. This is the dream. This is the fulfillment that he has been chasing, and he's not been able to find with anyone else. And he knows that now. He very much knows that. So it's that pure innocence. It hasn't been lost, and he wants to recapture it. It is worth fighting for. It's the simple things. That's the true richness. That's the true opulence. That's the true wealth and abundance of life that he's after. So, it's great how so many positive cups have come up with what the divine masculine wants, and it makes a contrast with this kind of wanting of pentacles, of just material gains and lower level security that's coming from the karmic end of the reading. Now, this was what really surprised me. What is going to happen with the outcome? Again, I don't really normally like doing outcomes, but I have to tell you, if it's so blatant what comes out in the cards, I have to tell you, because 3 cards came out together and then 1 card came out separate. This is what the divine masculine is doing, because he wants his empress. He is going after his empress, and he will make an offer once the cycle ends. Once this karmic cycle ends, he's going to be walking away. He is going to be walking away from it, leaving it behind for good. And yes, I see another moon here. And then that's when he's going to be making an offer. It's been a long time coming, but he is going to be making a very stable, very concrete and very sure-footed offer to the Empress. So divine feminine, he sees you as the Empress. You've shown up as justice and as the Empress in this reading, and he's showed up as knights. So he's very much the one that's listening to the boundaries that you set. He's listening to the rules that you set energetically, mentally. So make sure that you are as as competent and as thorough and as empowered as you can, as kind of complete and whole within yourself as you can be, because he knows that that is your destiny, and he knows that he's not got that. He's been tricked. He can see the kind of inadequacy of his current situation wherever he is. He knows that it's not good enough, because he harks after this, and he sees you as Lady Justice, and you're there. That's just your true nature. That's how she's almost quite angelic. She's quite like I'm really seeing this as a very powerful goddess-like kind of energy. And when I say goddess-like, I mean, it's a truth. It's just, that's how I see her in this card. She's coming across as absolute kind of truth. Like, this is just how it is. This is how it's going to be. This is the plan. This is it. Very, very, very much kind of that divine feminine, Shakti kind of energy. And not to make you big-headed or anything, because that's something that you have to tap into yourself to kind of reflect out into the world. So if the minute you get kind of egotistical about it, the minute it probably is going to get devalued, because that's the kind of energy that the karmic is in, very much kind of ego-driven, very much about, lower level stuff. But this is very pure, this is very selfless, and this isn't to do with what you need and what you want. It's just how things are and how things have to be. It's following the plan. It's actually very selfless. It's a very selfless energy that I'm getting from it. This, on the other hand, similar kind of postures, different genders, different vibe for sure. Look, the guy's got a tiny head and everything else is massive because it's all about show. It's all about show and almost like hiding, but she's very bare. You can almost see her clothes are very thin, so she's almost quite exposed, and it's her chest that's very open, while he's just covered with layer upon layer of armor. She's very, very open, and she's very confident with that, because she's leading from her heart, and her heart is shining through all the, and she's very grounded with the greens and the reds. So divine feminine, that's what you need to be like. That's the energy that's coming through, and that is what is guiding the divine masculine right now. And yes, he will be, cycles are coming to a close. They're still coming to a close. Then he'll emerge from those very cycles. He'll walk away. He'll leave those cups behind, those cycles that he doesn't need ever again. He'll walk away forever, and he'll have something to offer to his Empress. So I think that's rather a wonderful reading. I am going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me up until now, and for all of your, likes, comments, shares, subscribes, everyone who's donated to the channel, everyone who's come to me for a reading as well. Love you guys loads, and I will, speak to you soon. Bye.